Justice is about being in right relationship with everyone and every living thing around you. It's about loving your neighbor as yourself. Justice is really about treating every person and everything with the dignity and respect that it deserves.
I've worked my entire professional life in the justice system as a litigator. And to me, justice means a system in which everyone, rich or poor, black, white, or brown, citizen or non-citizen, legally in the United States or not legally in the United States, at liberty or incarcerated, has the access to an impartial rule of law court system that our Constitution protects and our laws guarantee.
What justice means to me is living in a world where, living in a world filled with compassion, filled with equality, filled with love, where people receive that kind of love, equally, regardless of race, color, creed, socioeconomic background, regardless of what they've done in the past. A world where, justice is sort of like a world where people are not based on what they've done or regulated to just one dark chapter in their life. A world where people are given second chances. A world where people are not judged because of how they look, where their character where the character is measured by their amount of compassion and love in their hearts.
Justice to me is a world where all human beings can flourish, free from the coercion and oppression that all too often characterize daily life for so many human beings.
What justice means to me is the idea of healing after some sort of injury. So the process of someone who has been harmed in some way or who has suffered harm in some way, being part of that process of things being restored or renewed or regenerated or just becoming stronger than it was before. So whatever that looks like, that is usually, in my opinion, a compassionate process, an honest process that looks at all parts of the equation that created the harm in the first place and trying to make it better, growing it to a better place.
Justice for me is building a fair and just society. And that means that each person has a real shot at a good job. So you have to have fair labor laws. You have to have strong unions. You have to make sure that people have a good pension and a safe and secure retirement. Otherwise, it's just them that gets, as Billie Holiday said. And that's not just. What you really want to do is create a place where everybody has a real opportunity and a place to be secure, safe, and feel that they have a worthy life.
Justice to me means the absence of double standards. It means the absence of disparate treatment. It's about honoring the human dignity of all people and recognizing their potential as people worthy of fair and equal treatment. It is not based on color, creed, nationality, religion, or anything of that nature. What justice means to me is treating people fairly and equally.
Justice means so much to me because I think everybody should live with good justice. It's something that I think it got the right of the people to compose themselves and live a good life. And I agree with justice. It means so much to me.
The justice for me means the right to life, to express your opinion and your voice without being crushed. العدالة بالنسبة لي تعني الحق في الحياة والحق في التعبير عن الرأي بدون أن يقمع أحد.
Justice is peace. Without justice, there will be no peace.
Justice is the linkage between our behavior, good or bad, and its social consequences. Justice enables us to live together by creating an expectation that efforts to help others should be rewarded, while actions that harm others may be punished. But if I get to live a life of comfort and privilege, regardless of what harm I might do, and if you'd have to endure misery or shame, regardless of how much you do for others, then one could say that there is some scarcity of justice in our world.
My name is Joe Henry. I'm a singer and a songwriter and record producer, and I'm presently on tour with my friend Billy Bragg. We're in Belfast today, and I'm speaking to you on behalf of Justice Aid as I watch with great horror from afar the unraveling of my country. It's what it feels like today. And I've been asked, what does justice mean to me personally? And the first thing that comes to mind is the quote from Dr. Cornel West, who reminds us that justice is what love looks like in public. And I think that justice is love in action. It's recognizing our humanity in advance of any sense of national alliance. Justice is universal, and we have to be in action right now.
I think my idea of justice is that this country has to come to terms with its original sin, which is slavery. And we went from slavery to emancipation, from emancipation to Jim Crow, and from Jim Crow to the new Jim Crow, which is the new form of slavery, putting people in prison under the disguise of the war on drugs. The war on drugs is really a war on African American and Latino males, and you know, we have the highest incarceration rate in the world, and that's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to disappear until we come to terms with our original sin as a nation.
Justice is something for the greater good of the whole, of humanity, not one thing that benefits one group above another, something that can universally be accepted as bringing about peace, bringing about understanding for the whole of humanity. If we can all commonly agree on a thing being the right solution, then it is the right solution as a whole, not nothing that oppresses one group and uplifts another.
Justice means to me, and it comes in the form of a question that nobody seems to answer, nobody seems to ask or even to consider. When a person goes to prison, for that particular person, the dominant question is not only how did I get here, you know what I mean, but how do I get out of here? And there are no set in stone procedures for a person to free himself from prison. How does a person get out of prison? I mean, you know, is it written anywhere? I mean, how does that determine? You know, I know you go to a parole board, and there's a board of people to determine by your actions in prisons whether or not you should be released or not. But that's not written in stone. There's no certainty to that. And that's one of the questions that we really need to ask ourselves. When a person comes to prison, you know, he says, can somebody sit down and tell me what are the steps I need to go through to find release from prison? It's nowhere to be found as far as I know.
Justice, for me, means tolerance. Tolerance is a big thing for me right now. It means acceptance. It means equality. It means looking at your neighbor, and even if they look differently, understanding that we all look differently, and what a beautiful world this is because of that, and being tolerant with one another.
Justice to me means not only fighting for what's right, but doing what's right. It means like putting forth the effort to make everything right around you. Justice is an empowering word, and it's not. I don't have enough time to describe what it means to me.
Justice to me is ending mass incarceration. Justice to me is like abolishing prisons. Justice to me is the pursuit of a loving and compassionate society. Justice to me is a mom being able to plan for her child to go to college rather than plan for a cage. That one hits me here. Justice to me is like, it's about setting things right. Justice to me is about fairness. Justice to me is a society that prioritizes women in the communities we come from.
For me, justice means fair treatment under the law. Nothing special, no privileges, just being treated the same as everyone else.
What justice means to me is about fairness. And when I think about fairness, I imagine that each of us needs to have a path to our dreams. And as we go along that path, the rest of us can come together and clear the path and encourage us along the way. And when we get there, we will be rejoicing, but so will everybody else, because everybody will have been invested in our journey.
Justice to me is opportunity. Opportunity to express yourself with others, share those expressions, and not be ashamed or shy. Justice also to me is freedom, right? Freedom to be who you want to be. Freedom to not feel confined to any one ideal or position. Justice also to me is fairness. I believe that as long as someone has felt they were treated with fairness, they will accept any results that come from something they were involved in or experienced with others. That's justice to me.
What justice means to me is when one's expectations as to the world align with your expectations as to yourself, so that they're in equipoise, so you hold yourself to the same standards that you'd hold the world to.
What does justice mean to me? I am a rather cynical person. I'm pretty dark and fatalistic. To me, justice means hope. It means finding a way to rebalance these inequalities that we are unfortunately born with in this world, because some people are born luckier than others. So to me, justice means making things a little bit closer to equal, to giving people a kind of the same ground to stand on.
What justice means to me is that there's change, and it's change from conditions that are dehumanizing to conditions that humanize people. It's change from conditions that oppress to conditions that uplift. And I think you know when justice has been done when you see evidence of that change and you see people's lives develop in ways that help us all, in ways that inspire us.
Many times we have people that are praised but not honored. And justice to me as a historian is being able to honor and praise the past, the present, and the future. Because having that knowledge of the past, there's an old proverb I learned many years ago from the Ashanti people of the Gold Coast of Africa. It's called Sankofa. Sankofa means go back and fetch it. Take the things from the past into the present, into the future, and it's depicted by a bird that's flying forward and touching its beak back on its back wing, showing that it learned the lessons of the past. And to me, justice is Sankofa.
What justice means to me is a criminal justice system that's fair to everyone, and a country where we are not housing 22% of the world's prison population. Even though America is only 4.4% of the world's population, 22% of the world's prison population is in America. That's no stat to be proud of. And I want to see justice prevail.
Justice to me means equal opportunity for women and girls worldwide to be able to lead fulfilling lives, be educated, make a difference in their communities, and a difference in their careers.
As a journalist, justice is at the center of what I do if I'm doing my job right. It involves looking into dark places, trying to figure out why things are not functioning the way they should, making that public, giving a people in a democracy a chance to act on that and respond to that. And at the same time, it also means giving credit and praise for things that are done right, things that are making a difference. It's very important to be balanced as a journalist. So part of justice as a journalist is fairness and compassion and, you know, just plain old inquisitiveness.
Justice to me means treating all people like people, regardless of their background, always leading with compassion and not with violence and hatred.
What justice means to me is acknowledging and atoning for past injustices. This means recognizing that genocide and slavery and the subjugation of women are part of our history, and justice means addressing those systemic inequalities. Justice means that we overhaul our criminal legal system so that it no longer serves as a mechanism of oppression for people of color. Justice means that we care for people with mental health and other health challenges and integrate them into our society. Justice means ensuring that everyone has a home before anyone has a second or third home. Fundamentally, justice means to me cherishing others as much as we cherish ourselves.
What does justice mean to me? It's the opposite of injustice, right? It's a thing that's too often elusive, too often absent, heartbreakingly so in this day and age in our society. The end.
Justice to me means jobs, not jails. It always has. It means empowering people. It means community economic development. It means equal opportunity. And right now, it means ending needless criminalization. It means ending mass incarceration, which is a legacy of the Jim Crow era, a legacy of slavery. It also means stopping disproportionate minority confinement. So it's about poverty, racism, and eliminating those barriers to justice.